a lot of actors have to have day jobs. I just had the day job before I was an actor. But yeah, I've been working in the video game industry since 2005. All the first 4 Gears of War games, Fortnite, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and Warzone. And there's a new the Tomb Raider reboots. I worked on those.
Yep.
And then there's a new Star Wars game coming that's been announced called Star Wars Zero Company, which is a tactical game that I worked on. And I've been everything from lead artist to UX director and art director, or just a hands-on graphic designer for those games.
Okay.
Yeah.
I usually like to start out with basically the first kind of step that got you started in your career that ended up, with you being here today.
Origin stories.
Yes. Yeah. The origin story question.
Yeah.
So how did you start? What got you kind of motivated to get into this?
Acting?
Acting.
Oh,
creative in general.
Oh gosh, creative in general. Well, I started drawing when I was, in first grade, and then I was a musician as a kid, and I just had great parents who wanted me to find what I was good at, and that takes some I'm going to try this. Oh, I don't like that. I'm going to try this. I don't like that. And they never discouraged me changing as long as I was trying to find the thing I was good at. And that's what I say now is rather than following your passion, find the thing that you're good at and become great at it. Because there's a lot of satisfaction and happiness in being great at the thing you're good at. So, but I mentioned being a graphic designer before I was an actor. So I would go to work and then come home and have dinner, tuck the kids in bed, and then I'd go out and work in the garage till 2 a.m. Making plastic costumes. Just because I grew up with Star Wars from when I was 7 in 1977.
That's actually one of my questions. Were you a Star Wars kid growing up?
I went to the theater and saw. It was just Star Wars. There was no
A New
title.
Hope.
Yeah, and there was just one. There was no promise of so many sequels or anything. So we go watch the movie, and then we go home and buy the action figures, and then we make up stories in the shag carpet in our living room. And so that's how that sort of started. Then as an adult, I started building costumes, or I tried to attempt to build like a prop, to replicate a prop. And this is before 3D printing or even YouTube, I think.
Yeah, you couldn't go to the internet for quick information.
Yeah. I could go to the internet, but it was mostly like bulletin board stuff, forums. So anyway, I failed the first couple times, but I got those out of the way. I knew they wouldn't be perfect. And then just kept trying, and so I was cosplaying for 6 years, and then I was like, I've never seen someone do a shiny chrome C-3PO, and so I spent 3 years and built my own, and then that changed my trajectory after that.
That is incredible, though, that you got there completely on your own, just from your building skills, That is a pretty cool story.
Well, I don't want to say I got there on my own from scratch, because I mentioned these forums, like the Replica Prop Forum and others, where people would share some of the things that they did, and then I would go, oh, I could apply that to this thing that I'm doing. And then I would share things that, oh, hey, I tried this and messed this up, but I also did this. So we were all just sharing back and forth. So I didn't learn it in a vacuum, but like I said, now there's a tutorial for everything on YouTube. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And there's 3D printing, which can be a bonus too.
You said you grew up as a Star Wars kid. What's the feeling when you find out that you're going to be, you've been cosplaying 3PO, now you're going to be in an official Star Wars capacity 3PO?
Yeah.
How did you find that out, and what was your first thoughts upon hearing that?
Well, a buddy of mine took a video of me finally after I'd spent 3 years building it, and the first time I put it on, he took a video of me, and I was just walking in the suit. Sorry, there we go. I just did a little walk, and I said hello. That was the whole video, and somebody at Lucasfilm saw that. And then I get an email that I thought was going to be a cease and desist. Not that they do that. I'm just saying. Anyway, and it was an invitation they were going to fly me to Lucasfilm in San Francisco and for a meeting and to bring my costume.
So it's a serious cease and desist. They're bringing you in.
No. Yes. Stop messing around and do this as a professional. But the suit, I didn't have it. I'd spent 3 years with the dream. Gosh, wouldn't this be great if someday, George Lucas might see it and give me a thumbs up or something. But of course, that's never going to happen because I'm just some dork in my garage. And so when they finally did call, I didn't have it because I had sent it out to be chromed, and I was heartbroken because all this time I'd spent, and now I'm not ready.
The one moment of inopportunity.
Yeah, and they said, well, where is it? I said, it's in a chrome shop in Los Angeles, but it's not going to be ready in time for what you need. And they're like, oh, we know that shop. Hang on just a second. Hello, this is Lucasfilm. You have a C-3PO costume that we need done this week, not in 5 weeks. And they go, yep, no problem. So they finished it. They had it shipped to Lucasfilm. They flew me out, and I finished building the suit in George Lucas's conference room.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so then we did this audition where it was a movement audition. They wanted to see, one, that I would not when I put on the head. Freak out, meaning like go panic. And then I just did my little walk around. Yes, that kind of thing. But I wanted to nail this audition. I don't know if you can hear me. My mic seems like it's going in and out.
Yeah.
But
we can switch if you want.
Okay. Check. Oh, it makes my voice lower. No, so I knew the eyes were on because I built them that way, and I had installed a sound system in the suit so that I had a microphone and an amplifier and a speaker. So, like I said, I want to nail this audition. So I did my little movement, and if you were there, Chris, this is how that might have looked. I would have turned, oh, Master Christopher. Christopher it is, isn't it?
It is.
Yes. Wonderful to meet you. I am C-3PO, Human-Cyborg Relations. How might I be of service?
We've got some translation needs.
And so they go, oh, you can do the voice. That's a bonus. We just needed a guy to move in the suit. And so now it's been, like I said, over 20 years that I've been doing the voice as well on television and games and for Disney parks. And so, but all of it is in deference to Anthony Daniels, that he... we check with him first.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about, you mentioned working with him before. What was that, again, growing up as a Star Wars kid, what's it like when you first meet him, and how did you guys kind of work together to work on your performance?
Yeah. I was just such a nerd. I was like, oh, Mr. Daniels, this is so like emotionally great to do this with you. And I was just like, oh, why did I say that? That's so dumb. But that's how I felt. And he was kind enough about it, and so we were doing a live show for Disney. Was our first, I think, our first in-person like live performance, and he really wanted to get the timing right so that we were both reacting to kind of a joke that he was kind of a funny little bit for the audience, so that we were in sync. And so he was just like, well, the first time I met him, I hadn't been cast yet, but I was just doing I was doing it as a fan. And he goes, all right, let's hear the voice. And I was so nervous, as you can imagine. I'd been working on it like in my car to and from work for, I don't know, 80 hours or whatever. And so I was just like, hello, I'm C-3PO, Human-Cyborg Relations. How might I be of service? And he goes, oh, pretty good. Let's slow it down a little. And but then he was really helpful in kind of explaining that he's a machine. C-3PO is a machine, so all the parts are just machines that are connected to each other, but it's not one big machine, so the arms are separate, they move separate from the rest of the body, and the head turns separate, the body, stuff like that. It was really helpful. What else? I think that was pretty much it. I'd done a lot of homework. I was scouring and studying all of his movement and everything, so that when I went into it, it was as seamless as possible.
I had the pleasure to meet him once. This was like New York.
How was that?
In the same, I'll tell this story. In the same way, I was very nervous. I mean, I grew up as a Star Wars kid, and I was there as a photographer, just taking pictures and stuff. And I see him walking from his table out to go to a panel or something, and I was like, oh, Mr. Daniels, can I take a picture? And he's like, yeah, sure. And I take the picture. I think I might have even taken the picture before I asked, to be honest. And he comes up to me, leans over, and he's like, you are in line to get an Anthony Daniels autograph, right? And me, being the Star Wars kid, just so nervous, lied right to that man's face and said, yes, I am, absolutely.
Disgust.
Yeah, so I do owe him an apology.
Oh, my gosh. Speaking of disgusting creatures, I don't know what that is.
I have to say a Bluto, I believe, from Labyrinth.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hello, I think.
Does anybody have any questions before I hog up all the time with questions?
Tell the story of how you got your job in gaming.
How did you get your job in gaming? Tell that story.
Oh, well, this was before the C-3PO casting. A friend of mine recommended that I apply over at Epic Games. I was living in North Carolina at the time, and this is in 2005, so before Gears of War or anything. And so I sent in my portfolio, my design portfolio, and I called him that afternoon and was like, hey, Chris Bartlett, I sent in my portfolio. I would love to talk to somebody about it. And she goes, we have 400 resumes we're going through. We'll call you when we get to yours. I'm like, oh, how could I rise to the top of that? So, as any of you would do, I drove down there and put on a full sand trooper costume, which is like a stormtrooper but dirty, with a giant backpack and a huge gun and ammo pouches and stuff, and all dirty. And so I just walked into the office, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't realize that the FBI had an office that is on the first floor there, and I walked right past it, and nobody stopped me. And I got this big gun and a mask, And so I just rode the elevator up to the top floor. Still didn't know what was going to happen, and then the doors open, and the head of animation is standing there, and so we're both like looking at each other, but I had to stay in character. So I said, "All right, let me see your identification." And he was like, "What?" I said, "Point me to your superior or whatever." And so at just that moment, all the doors opened in the hall, and all the offices emptied, and I was like, "Whoa, what's happening?" Well, they were going to a company meeting. They weren't there to see me, but I just happened to be there, and they saw me, and they thought there was going to be a big surprise announcement with Lucasfilm partnership or something. Like, that's not what I was saying or anything. But what was interesting is later when I started working on The Mandalorian, we see the volume, and I see the big Unreal Engine logo on the screen. I'm like, oh, I was working on the Unreal Engine. And I remember when I worked at Epic Games, Tim Sweeney, the head of Epics, would say, we're going to have the Unreal Engine in movies one day. And we were like, I was like, I mean, yeah, it's cool, but it's a video game engine. It's how could the quality be that high? But yeah, sure enough, years later, I am surrounded in a room, this massive room that's all digital screens, and what you see on The Mandalorian is what we're seeing. They're just filming the screen. There's no green screen or anything on those in those rooms.
Yeah, it just goes from looking like a normal room. I've seen kind of like pictures of the process.
Yeah.
And then you're on Tatooine or some other planet.
Or on Coruscant looking at these big skyscrapers. Like, it's so cool.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, does it get like maybe disorienting or overwhelming trying to like act in that environment where you're just like kind of amazed and just, trying to be professional at the same time?
Well, no, you don't have to use any imagination. You're like there. The thing is, you mentioned being disoriented. I play in Book of Boba Fett. I play this fancy alien who gets on an elevator with Mando, and we have this very relatable, awkward elevator moment. But we get on the it's a one shot. It's a long one shot. So we get on the elevator, and then the elevator starts moving, and you can tell because the background is falling down, right? And we're just standing there, like you and I are sitting here on a stage, but everything around us is going, let's see, I guess it would be going down, so we're going up. Yeah, and so that feels like, whoa, it feels like kind of a sinking feeling. The best time I had, I'm going to tell you my most favorite time I had working on these shows is flying Mando's ship as Q90, bounty hunter droid who flies Mando's ship, and Mando doesn't like that. Because the cockpit is all real, it's all practical, all the buttons work and everything, and then we're parked in the volume, so I'm seeing space in 360 degrees outside of the windows of the cockpit, and then I say, jump into hyperspace now, and then all the stars stretch into infinity just like in the movie, and it's all, I have no imagination needed, it's all real.
The Star Wars kid in you just like...
Yeah, exactly. And it is exactly how you would react. That's how I was. So I couldn't believe it. It's fun.
Saying that as someone who cried the first time they rode the Millennium Falcon at Disney World.
Oh, yes. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, same way. I didn't
Anybody
cry.
else have any questions? Yes, right here.
What has been your favorite cosplay to make?
My favorite cosplay to make was probably Boba Fett, because I grew up in the, I was 10 when Empire Strikes Back came out. So, I always loved Boba Fett. And so in 2003, I built my first version of Boba Fett, and I loved it because I would wear it to conventions like this, and I would play him for real. And, I'd talk to people in his voice. But back then it would have been, let's see, that would have been 2003. Did they have Tamora doing the voice then? I can't remember.
Yeah.
It was still Jason Wingreen, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, and it was, gosh, I just love that character. And he has so much power in his stillness that I really tried to do that when I would play them. And I would improvise. I would use the characters to improvise with people and entertain them, not just like, walking around. For me, I wanted to be performing.
Yeah.
I didn't know it would turn into actual acting, but that was ultimately would be the dream. But I of course, that's never going to happen. Like I said, with the other thing. Yeah. So.
Anyone else? All right, go for it again.
What's your name?
Krista,
Hi, Krista.
we messaged on Instagram
Oh, okay, cool.
because I'm with the Think the Maker Patreon.
Oh, yeah, great.
Dad Batch.
Oh, right. Yes.
What was your favorite episode of The Mandalorian film and or character?
Well, Zero is my favorite character that I play. My favorite episode to film had to be any of the cockpit scenes, because I don't know about you, but I built my own spaceship by the age of 11 out of a refrigerator cardboard box, and so it was just a total dream come true. Of course, I'm a serious actor, and I'm taking all this very seriously. But I'm pushing all the buttons because they all work. They all light up, and the triggers work, and the sticks work, and everything. And so that's what I was doing. Like when I sat down, and I was doing all this and everything, and John goes, "Chris, you're a droid, so you're just gonna scomp Jack into the ship and fly it that way." And I was like,
Aw.
"What?" I mean, okay, sure. Anyway, I can take direction, but then when they said action, I was like, yes. I wanted to look busy. I want him to. So my arm is always like this. It's always locked in place, but I'm also pushing buttons and turning knobs because like you think of the TIE fighters in the original Star Wars, like, or Darth Vader, like, what are they doing?
Yeah, I was feeling.
Are they
the knob
switching
in front of
gears or turning the radio station? I don't know. Anyway, it was just fun because it looked like they knew what they were doing, and I wanted to look like I knew what I was doing.
I now want to be a DJ on the Death Star. That's a new career goal. KEMP.
Yeah.
In addition to playing C-3PO in the shows and in movies and stuff, you've also played him in live appearances on things like the Oscars, on David Letterman,
Right.
Good Morning America, I believe.
Every Hollywood red carpet for the new movies.
Is that like more stressful than doing like working in like in a film or TV show, because you're almost like improving when you're there, like on the spot?
No, I love it. I mean, the improving, it's so fun. Like when I did Lego Masters, that's a reality competition show, where they build Lego, and so I had 2 lines that were scripted for the whole show. But I'm with Will Arnett, who is improving the whole thing.
One of the funniest people alive.
Yeah, so I'm improving in the suit, in character, and that's my voice on the show. And so, I'm talking to people about, builders, and they built like the Ewok forest on Endor, and I'm talking to them of like what it's like to battle the Empire and what great judges of character the Ewoks are, and things like that. And gosh, no, it's a skill I really admire, and it's something I'm always working on. It was a lot of fun.
What's it like doing that at the Oscars? Like you're in the room with all these tuxedoed, A-list stars, and there you are. I was just a cosplayer a few years ago, and now I'm, front stage at the Oscars.
That is still always in my mind. Like they could find out who I was and kick me out of here at any moment. That's what I feel like, But at the Oscars, the way I went into that was, the majority of the time you're backstage, which is filled with Martin Scorsese's and Steven Spielberg's and Andy Serkis and Lady Gaga and Dave Chappelle and everyone you've always wanted to hang out with and be cool with. So I didn't want to walk around with my head off because I wanted them to have kind of a, I don't know. They give me so much.
Yeah, I was
on
gonna
screen.
say they're in the situation that you are almost, where they're kind of amazed, like, oh my God, like this is cool.
Yeah, so I wanted to give them a little something that might be fun. So I told my dresser, just do the whole thing, and I told R2, all right, little buddy, just try and keep up. And so we walked around like we had just landed, and we were lost. Is this a droid maintenance facility? Oh, where are we? And then we would be arguing, and we're walking around. There's crew, there's production people, there's people that are trying to get you to your spot and all this stuff, and we're just arguing like, I forgot the tickets. How dare you? The tickets were your job, you nitwit. No, I'm not getting in there with you. That area is restricted. Will be deactivated for sure. And while I'm doing this, Andy Serkis runs up to me and goes, C-3PO, this is amazing. Can I take a photo with you? And I was like, inside, I was like, yes!
Absolutely.
But on the outside, I have to be, why, yes, of course. And you are? And then right when I came out of my dressing room, Lady Gaga and her entourage of like 13 people come around the corner, and we run into each other at the same time. And we're both like, goodness. And I said, I'd been watching her rehearsal as myself. And so I said, Miss Gaga, it's wonderful to meet you. I'm very much looking forward to your performance. And she goes, oh, thank you, C-3PO. And she puts her hand out, and I can't see it because I'm like here. So she's standing like this. We have a video of it. It's on YouTube if you look up C-3PO Gaga. She's like this. And so I'm just looking in her eyes through those little straws. And then I'm like, oh, yes, hello. And we shake hands, and then she goes in to give me a kiss, which what you see through these is Lady Gaga's face going like this, and then she disappears, and then I see her again, and then I realized she was kissing his face. So then all during the Oscars, C-3PO had lipstick on the side of his face. we had to wipe it off before I went out on stage. But anyway, that was funny. And then she goes to kiss R2, which I don't know if you've seen R2 lately. He is disgusting. He's like all oily and dirty and stuff. And so I had to tell her that, obviously. Yeah. So anyway, that was a fun moment. And then Dave Chappelle afterwards, when we were in the kind of like the governor's, I can't remember what they call it. It's where everyone goes after they are on stage.
Yeah, it's the governor's ball or something.
Yeah. So I'm just standing around in there as C-3PO and R2's with me, and I see Dave Chappelle, and I mean I'm only seeing them right when they're right next to me because I'm like looking. I can barely see, right? And I turn around and Dave Chappelle's standing right there. And he was like, C-3PO. And I go, Master David, so nice to see you, fully functional. And he shakes my hand. And then later, I was watching a show called Ride, which is a motorcycle show with Norman Reedus. He rides with other actors who are motorcycle riders. And and he interviews them while they're riding. And he goes, hey, Dave, have you ever been starstruck? And he goes, yeah. When I was at the Oscars, I met C-3PO. And he was like, and I felt like I was a kid again. And I was like, oh, that's so great. It's so satisfying. Like, that's what I wanted. I wanted them to have a moment and not meet some dork in a costume. Yeah.
I imagine, like, there's a great bit of like physical discomfort being in like a costume that like intricate for that long. Do moments like that just make that all worth it? Like just all that like kind of.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, you get used to it. And since I build the suit that we use on television, I can, tailor it and smooth it out on all the pinchy parts. Yeah. Whereas maybe another costumer who's making it for you might not about that. Yeah. But I mean, it takes a lot of getting used to. Inside the head, you can, if you look inside the head, imagine this whole room is a giant fiberglass interior, with lights and wires and stuff, with just two tiny little pinhole holes to see the outside world. So I don't recommend focusing on this stuff. You just look through the eyes, and what you see is like, oh, happy people and R2-D2 rolling by, like happy things. And so that's what I focus on is that. And then, because people often ask what like wearing the suit, and there's two answers to that. One is you can't sit down, but I can put my arms straight down and I can put my arms out or like this, but that looks like a guy in a suit if my arms are just down. So this is all a performance, Anthony has pioneered that whole character. He's the author of this character. And so there's the discomfort and inability to sit down or go upstairs. But like I said, what you see is like, oh, this is also part of the wearing the costume, and that's it's just such a surreal, satisfying, magical job, as you can imagine.
How long does it take you to get fully suited up?
Katie suits me up in the suit.
Well, Dana.
How long does it take you to suit me up?
It takes me
45
minutes.
Okay, so between 25 and 45 minutes.
Dana's his wrestler for the show. He can get you in and out of it.
We had to do it in 12 minutes one time. Yeah, that was really fast. But anyway, it only takes 5 minutes to take it off.
All right.
And the reason I know that is because I had the lobster ravioli one day. You don't want to do that if it's been sitting out too long on set. Yeah. But it really does bolt together. It's this is like wearing a really tight car fender. Okay. For many years it was slightly too small, so I was breathing about 2/3 of a breath. Couldn't get a whole breath. So it's only been recently that we've upgraded the suit to give me just a tiny bit more room, and now it feels like a ride of luxury. It's like this big limousine almost. Yeah.
Any more audience questions? Anybody want to ask a question?
Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Bartlett. My name is Logan McInnes.
Hi, Logan.
I'm an aspiring screenwriter. I
Yeah.
started my MFA program this fall at Emerson College.
Right on.
Screenwriting.
Mm-hmm.
When you pick up a script, a Star Wars script, what makes a character like C-3PO so likable when they have so many few words?
Oh, interesting question. What makes a character so likable if they have few words, right? And this goes for any script because I don't like just playing Star Wars, and I play other characters in other things, but Star Wars is what most people ask me about. But there is no character. There's only black spots on a page that make up words. Words make up sentences, and then that tells a story. So the character is up to the actor to like come up with the layers of what makes this a real character, and that's what often the director really relies on the actor. The directors have told me we don't know what we want the character to be like until we see your take on it, and that's what the whole casting process is. Most people do it the same way. A couple of people will do it different, and those kind of can stand out if it's like, you know, good choices. But anyway, to answer your question, what was your question? Sorry.
What makes a character so likable with very few words?
Oh, well, the writing, you know. So, but then it can also be the performance. You know, a character like the ferryman in the first episode of the first scene in Mandalorian. Is the snouted character with goggles, and he's in a parka, and he's out on he's calling speeders over, and all my lines were in English. So that way I got to know what this character was like. And when we watch a show, it's in alien language, but that wasn't decided when we were filming it. So I just did it all in English, and that's how I was like, okay, well, this guy is out on the ice. He's probably very lonely. He's probably freezing. He's got a parka on, so he's subject to cold. So what if he sounded like an old Soviet used car salesman? And that's what the actor does, is comes up with layers to make this an interesting character. You know, not just alien on ice. And so, yeah, and he just had a couple of lines, but I wanted him to feel like, I've been here all day and I do this for a living. I'm an expert. You're coming over and you want a speeder and you don't like it because it has a droid. You don't know what you're talking about. These are like, you know, and I say in English, the line was, but I assure you this speeder is brand new. It just arrived on the Spinwood freighter. And Jon Favreau goes, oh, that's good. Let's cartoon it down a little. I go, okay, yeah, I could do less cartoon. And that's just, you know, sometimes the evolution of the character comes from collaborating with the writer and then the actor and then the director. But what makes them so likable, it's that combination of those three. So maybe there's a little bit of comedic timing that the director is good at, and so he tells you to like pause here and then do this movement here or whatever. Yeah, I would say it's the collaboration of those three.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good question.
In the back.
Yeah.
Way in the back.
How surreal was it?
What's your name?
I'm sorry. My name's Cameron.
Master Cameron. So nice to see you.
How surreal was it for you to go from being a fan of Star Wars to getting to be in Star Wars?
How surreal was it for me to go from being a fan of Star Wars to being in Star Wars? Like I mentioned before, I constantly thought they were going to figure it out and just kick me off because, like, you're not a classically trained actor. You know, you're just, you know, some guy. But so I think, like, I was an adult. I was 36 when I was cast first as C-3PO, and every acting gig is just a one-time thing. There's no promise unless you sign a contract for like a film. It's just one day that you're filming, and then that could be the last one.
There's no guarantee you're going to do it again.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to do the best I can do today, and I'm gonna help not ruin that by fanboying all over the place, you know. So I'm gonna like do when I was filming I was a bartender in season 1 of The Mandalorian. It was a Death Star droid, and I was standing there next to Werner Herzog, who plays the client, this warlord who says,
Talks like this.
"I would like to see the baby." That character, And so I was standing next to him. Now, keep in mind, nobody knows anything about the Mandalorian show. I'm just so over the moon excited that new Star Wars is coming, and that I get to work on it. So I'm standing next to him. My whole life of fandom is bubbling up a little, but I'm trying to keep it cool, and I'm standing next to him, and we were watching something be filmed, and I just leaned over just a tiny bit, and I was like, "Isn't this exciting?" And he looks at me and he goes, "This is serious work. We are breathing life into characters which would not otherwise exist." And I was like, that's what I meant. That's what I was saying.
That probably passes for friendly conversation with Werner Herzog.
Yeah. But it taught me a lot in that moment, to your point, going from being a fan to the awesome responsibility of creating compelling characters in a new Star Wars. And, I loved that moment. Everybody else loves Star Wars and is totally friendly and warm and cuddly on set. But he was like the Alec Guinness for us. He was the heavy. He brought gravity to every episode. And I'm so glad I got to have that moment with him. Yeah.
Have you ever had to, been charged with keeping a really big Star Wars or even video game spoiler, like under your hat? Maybe one that's, out now that you can talk about. And was that difficult to just, as a Star Wars fan, not tell another Star Wars
Oh,
fan?
yeah. Well, I knew C-3PO was going to appear in Ahsoka, and I knew it wasn't going to be me. The reason I found out that it was going to be Anthony is because I play all the other droids. And when I was talking to the producer, she said, they needed an extra. I mentioned I build all the suits I wear on the show, right?
Yeah.
They needed an extra pair of legs and another set of droid legs for something. And the only legs I had available left, because they used all the rest of them, was the ones I keep for C-3PO for the television, when Lucasfilm calls. So I'm like, well, is the gold guy going to be making an appearance in this show? She goes, yes, but he's doing it. And I go, oh, okay, all right. And she was like, that's why we're filming all your stuff up front, the front of the season. We're going to, I play like C1D1, the white Home 1 droid, and who else was in Ahsoka? Yeah, the navigation droid, the navy blue chrome one at the very beginning. So yeah, that was a secret that I knew, but I don't look at them as like, ooh, I gotta keep a secret. It's like, oh yeah, okay, that's happening. We just know not to ever talk about anything, before it happens or before the show airs.
Or it definitely will be the last time you're on set.
Yeah, because we're filming 1 to 2 years before it airs on TV. So not only are you keeping it quiet while you're doing it, but also while you're waiting for the show to air. But yeah, I just don't think about it because it's just
work.
I want to keep working.
Yeah. We have time for maybe one more question. So if anybody has a question in the audience, now is your time.
Working with Carl Weathers. Yeah. The late, great, epic Carl Weathers. I worked with him on The Mandalorian multiple seasons, but on the third season, he and I were paired together the whole season.
Oh, all right.
So I played Copper, or CU28 now is his name, now that the action figure has come out. But on set, Carl called him Copper. Copper Top is what he called me. But we worked together every day on season 3, and we had nothing in common. He is Apollo Creed, 10-foot tall, legendary action star
Jackson,
that we grew up with, right? And he would talk about sports and fighting, and I was like, costumes and Star Wars. And so
Predator was cool.
Right, exactly. And so, he and I really connected over the work. And on season 3, when I was playing Copper, I would come on to set with the helmet on. I would already come on before anybody else, and I would walk it with the helmet off. So I would get to know the environment and everything. Okay, I got to go from here to here and there. So then I would walk on with the helmet on, just to, like I was doing at the Oscars, just like I'll just make some fun for people. I'm not taking up any extra time by having the head on because we're going right into rehearsal. So we go into rehearsal. I still have the head on, and I know all my lines. I know all my material. I'm delivering it as if I was an on-camera character, meaning no mask. So inside the mask, this is what I'm doing, right? And Carl goes, "Chris, I want you to take off the mask." And I go, "Oh, all right, Dana." He takes off the mask and he goes, "I can hear all the emotion that you're bringing to this scene." You know, remember he was a director too.
Yeah.
"I want our characters to have an emotional connection so that the audience feels that. So you and I need to have an emotional connection." I was like, "Oh, I get to have an emotional connection with Carl Weathers," you know, and he says, "If we can rehearse it without the mask on, I will see your face, and I will have a connection to you so that when you put the mask back on and we go into filming, I will still remember your face." And I'm like, Carl Weathers is thinking of my face. It was just, I just felt so lucky. And also, he didn't just come on and do his Carl Weathers and then he leaves. He was there the whole time. And when they were doing my coverage, meaning when the camera's on me, he was right there. Even though he wasn't being seen, he was there and he was delivering all the lines because he wanted these scenes to feel real to you. And the way that we do that as actors is we make sure we have an emotional connection, meaning, we talk, we get along, and maybe we go get a hamburger or something, but that we're like, that our characters will feel real because we have a real connection. And that was I just felt like, wow, what a gift that Carl gave me. It seems so dumb to get emotional about it now because Carl Weathers was everything to everybody.
Yeah.
And the really sweet thing about Carl is he is just he's just what you hope he would be.
Yeah, just a nice guy. You kind of hoping to be like, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good man. He's a good man. And and he was a friend. And he was so good at what he did. Not only as an actor, but also as a director. And he really wanted to collaborate with you. Never mind the stuff I was saying earlier about what I thought of myself on set. He didn't see that. He saw me as a person that he could rely on to bring real emotion to the scene. And so when we lost him, it was such a shock because he died in his sleep.
And for his age, he seemed like a virile,
this guy worked out every day. He ate right. He came to set ready to go. He always had energy. And you know what? He was a real guy. He would forget his lines sometimes, just like we do. But he's just a real dude. And so it was just so shocking. When we lost him. Like I said, it felt so weird to say, "Oh, I miss Carl," because he had invited me to his house, and we were in the middle of arranging that, over text. He was like, he goes, "Chris, I just heard something shocking about you," and I was like, "Oh, great." He said, "I understand that not only do you play these characters, you also built them yourself," and I go, "Oh yeah, I was just doing that for fun," and then they asked me to come and do it for them. We need to talk, and I was like, "Oh, cool, yeah." I don't know what that means, but sure. And then we exchanged numbers, and then we never got around to that, sadly.
Thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah, he's a great man.
We are sadly over our time. This has been a great conversation.
Yeah.
If
Thanks,
you're not
Chris.
tired of hearing from me, you can check out my show, Big Dumb Monsters, every Monday at 7:45 on Twitch and YouTube. And you should go check out Chris down at the convention. Get a picture, get an autograph.
You
Say
can
hi.
see this up close.
Check
the
out
production
C3PO.
suit. Yeah, and I'll answer any questions there too. And I'll be there. All day today and tomorrow. And just to clarify, there was some misinformation that went around. I was not here yesterday because I was on set filming for a major musical group.
Oh.
I can't say that. I can't tell you who it is. But I was there on time. We rearranged flights to be able to come here. I never missed my flight. I got here straight from filming. I got up yesterday, 4:30, filmed all day, went to the airport, flew all night to get here this morning at 9 o'clock. So I was not I did not miss a flight.
Thank you so much for doing that, for going through that.
No, yeah, thanks for having me. I didn't want to
absolutely.
miss this at all.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, and
Thanks
thank you
for
all
coming.
for coming.